This week on the scene, Magic by Greg and singer-songwriter Brent Tyler.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Greg, and I've been invited to create a few minutes of magical entertainment for you. I thought I'd start off right at the very beginning for me, and these 3 quarters you see on the table will actually represent the allowance I used to get from my grandfather as a small child. Now, before I could get my allowance, to him, nothing came for nothing, and if I wanted it, I had to do something to earn it. Now, to him, there wasn't a lot more important than paying attention, so he would make me play an observation game to earn my quarters. Now, for this game, we'll be using 3 cards. We have the 3 of clubs, the card to follow, or the money card, will be the ace of hearts, and then we've got the 2. Now, Grandpa started off with a quick shuffle, and he said, Greg, for the first time, I'll actually take it easy, and I'll show you as I go through this. And he began by placing the ace of hearts onto his left-hand side. 3 of clubs was placed into the middle, leaving the 2 to be on his right. Now, at this point, he gave a wave and a snap and said, for the first quarter, find the ace. I'm thinking, this is easy. You didn't even do anything. You placed it right there, didn't touch a thing. With confidence, I guessed on his left. It's the 3 of clubs. Off onto the right, we found the 2, and of course, in the middle is where we had the ace. Now, down 25 cents, Grandpa said, Greg, we're going to try this again, but the second round's going to be a little more difficult. And it began by placing the ace of hearts into the middle, allowing the 3 and the 2 to each go onto one side. Now he gave a special move. Watch this. And said, where's the ace? Now, I was watching. The ace started in the middle, and the move didn't do a thing. So this time, with confidence, I guessed the middle. It's the 3 of clubs. Off onto the right was the 2, and where it should have been last time is where we found the ace of hearts. So now down to a potential 25-cent allowance. Grandpa said, Greg, this last one, he says, you got to get part of your allowance. I'll give you a 50-50 chance. Now, to give me those kind of odds, one of the cards needed to be eliminated. So the 3 of clubs was placed into the corner underneath the case, allowing a 1 and 2 or 50-50 chance. Now, at this point, he cast a magical shadow and said left or right, left or right, to which it never mattered because left and right was the 3 and the 2, and back under the case, we found the ace. And no matter what I would choose, I was always destined to lose. And I came away with valuable life lessons.
Unlike many of his peers, Greg didn't grow up dreaming of a career in magic. The Kelowna-based magician's motivation came with real-life experience.
Well, as opposed to being inspired from the point I was a child, mine came more out of frustration. I was a waiter and a bartender for a long time that was just never able to make tips the way pretty girls could. So getting into magic for me was a way to hopefully improve my tips with my guest interaction. And it really snowballed into something that took off to something I wasn't expecting. Recently, when I was down in Vancouver, I came across a street performer that was playing a game of Find the Ace. I was just on my way into a restaurant for dinner, and I thought this is a fantastic opportunity to win some money. But as opposed to the 3-card variation that you just saw, this variation required 4 cards, having the ace of clubs together with 3 blank ones he called decoys. This will be a place to hide his ace. Now, to begin, he put one of the decoys on the table, so very fairly he could slide his ace right in the middle of the remaining 2. And at this point, a quick shuffle moved his top card to the bottom, the middle to the bottom, and the bottom where it began. He said for $5 to find the ace. Now, for me, I'm a logical guy, and I said by simply reversing your cards, you'd find it where it started. But as we looked, all 3 were actually blank. The ace was the one on the table. Now, intrigued by this, I immediately wanted another chance. So he began by showing me the 3 decoys, again placing one on the table. The ace went back into the middle. And a repeat of the same shuffle again moved the top card to the bottom, the middle to the bottom, and the bottom where it began. Said for $5 to find the ace. Now this time my eyes were on the table, and convinced nothing had been touched, I quickly and logically went to the middle. But as we looked, all 3 were actually blank. The ace was the one on the table. So at this point, I'm down $10, and he has offered me one last chance, said double or nothing, and he would even increase my chances. Now, sadly, as a sucker, I agreed to this, and he began by showing the first, second, and third decoy and placing one on the table, allowing the ace to go into the middle. The same shuffle brought top to bottom, middle to bottom, and bottom where it began, and said for $10 to find the ace. I said, buddy, you can fool me once, you can fool me twice. You don't fool me 3 times, and I flipped it. Now, as it turned out, not only was it in the middle, but he had increased my odds and made all of the others into aces as well. Sadly, I lost all my money, but I had a great time, 25 bucks on a book, and here I am. Yeah. When people see you and you're doing it that close, they have the assumption that they're able to follow when they watch. When you see it on TV, you think, if I was the person sitting right there, I would be able to catch them. And when it actually happens to you, just the shock value of the people, the reaction you can get in their eyes, and at the same time, how it extends through their friends. When their friends or families see someone getting shocked, they get a great reaction out of it as well. And to be the person at the party doing that is a lot of fun. Truly, my introduction into cards, I wasn't inspired to be a magician. I was much more motivated to be a poker player. To me, in my mind at least, winning money just seemed a lot better than working for it. So it was something I began to take quite seriously. And the goal I set for myself was how to manipulate cards to my advantage, thinking that if I could take and shuffle a deck the way I wanted, that at least theoretically, winning would become a lot easier. Now, after a few good shuffles here, it's going to be impossible to tell, but I'm going to ask you to please believe me when I say that I have all 52 cards spread out in the deck. Now, I'll look to give 3, maybe 4 quick shuffles to demonstrate the manipulation I've been working on. So taking left and right, you can see that the 2 sides going in together will create for me shuffle number 1. We'll take left and right again going together. This will create shuffle 2. We'll give a couple more, this being shuffle number 3. Throw in a set of cuts. And a final shuffle. And if I was able to do it exactly as I practice, and I'll ask you to take my word for it when I tell you I actually have practice, when we look at the deck, you can see they've been shuffled into perfect starting order. So every card goes from the ace to the 2, ace to 2, ace to 2, set up as a red suit black, red suit black. And at this point, I'm starting to develop some confidence. What I'm lacking, however, is any knowledge on how to use this in the game. So I kept practicing and set the new goal of working on colors. Again, I put left and right to go carefully back together, and done perfectly this time on the top half of the deck, I had left 26 red cards, and by elimination on the bottom, of course, we found 26 black. But in a game of high-stakes poker, it's always the last hand of the night where the stack is on the table. So to me, I thought if I could arrange for 4 aces, I'd leave the rich guy. And again, practice by putting the 2 sides carefully back together, and again, including 1, 2, and 3 perfect cuts to find on the top I had left 4 aces, followed by kings, queens, jacks, all the way down to the 4 twos on the bottom. And once I have those aces, I'm able to win every hand without a problem. Just can't find a game. Well, I like to look at gambling. It's something, in the past few years over on television, poker has become really, really popular with people. And a lot of people figure themselves to be card players. So I really enjoy poker cheating routines and things that can make people drop their jaw. They assume that they have a pretty good understanding of a deck of cards in a game of poker. And you can show them a few things that I really enjoy that. My character, I would like to be a poker cheater from the 40s, is if I could choose a role. The reaction I get from people is this: what I'm fishing for is people to look at me and appreciate what I've done and swear they would never have a game of cards with me. If I can get someone to say that, I feel like I've done my job. I'm constantly facing the accusation that I'm a cheater when I touch a pack of cards, and I lost my money very fairly when I gambled on Robson. So I decided to cut out any, accusations or risk on my part, and I went right to the money itself. And it turns out being able to take a $20 bill and give 1, 2, 3, and 4 perfect creases done exactly right. When you'd open it up, if their crease was perfect, the money would actually increase. One of the most common questions I face after I perform magic and switch a bill is if I can switch other people's bills. Now, I put a lot of time and practice into this, and I won't do it immediately for people, but I am happy to give advice, because I remember really clearly the day I bought my 20 to 100 book and how excited I was by this. And I remember I had done the first crease exactly the way the bill or the book had said, Second crease again was done perfectly, right up until the third. But by the last crease, I had so much adrenaline built up, I mistakenly ripped it in half. And as the two pieces opened up, I was left with a couple of 10s. But the trick was called 20 to 100, so I needed a quick way that I would be able to put a couple 10s quickly back together to leave myself back where I started and ready to try it all again. I have learned on my own. I've never been taking courses or anything. And I find I would liken it a lot to piano lessons, where you're first starting off, you learn Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star and London Bridge. And as your fingers develop more dexterity, you can progress and learn new songs a lot easier. And the same learning curve applied to me. My hands, to train them to do things, it took a while. But when they got to the position that I can use them on a subconscious level, new tricks come really quickly. The hardest one I've learned to this point was the shuffling of the deck into perfect poker order. That took me about close to 3 years to be able to do it 100% of the time with full confidence. And other ones take a lot less, but that one definitely was the one that, and it makes me the most proud at the same time because I haven't seen a lot of other people that can successfully do it. For this one, I have my lovely volunteer, Susan. She's going to help me out with this one. Now, Susan, one thing I find fascinating as I do this is I focus on tricks that really happen close to people as opposed to being the stage illusion guy. Now, in this situation, people truly believe themselves to be watching me when this isn't always necessarily the case. Now, we're going to try a little experiment to see how well you're able to follow along. So I'll ask you to put out a finger and a thumb so you can hold a card parallel to the ground. Now, in this instance, we're going to start with the ace of diamonds. And because this is a quiz, there's no peeking or cheating, okay? So the ace of diamonds, we'll put it right there. Now I'm going to wait for 1, 2, 3 seconds, and I ask you, which card are you holding?
The ace of diamonds.
Check it out. Fantastic. You're paying attention, hey? I like this because a lot of people, actually, they think that I've switched it already and will guess something completely different. Okay. So I know you're following. So you've got the diamonds. Now, Susan, to truly make this a challenge, I'm going to introduce the other red ace, okay, the hearts. Yeah. I'm going to ask for your focus to be on the diamonds because I'm going to try to trick you using the hearts, okay? So taking my card, I'm going to go once, twice, and 3 times. Now, without looking, I want to know, is your card, the diamonds, left to be on the bottom or the top?
The bottom.
The bottom. She says the bottom. Let me pull it out, hold it right there. Nice. Actually, nicely done. Okay, very well. So you've got the hearts, I got the diamonds. Allow me one last chance, okay? We'll go 1, 2, 3. Now I ask you, your original card, the diamonds, is it left to be on the top or the bottom?
The top.
1, 2, 3. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll check them out. Flip them over. So yeah, I had it covered both ways, top or bottom.
You did.